Monday after the Marine Corps Marathon, I thought I was screwed because I had created a problem for myself that nobody else would have. By signing up for 65 miles of racing over 21 days, I'd now got to be really concerned about that back-to-back marathon part because New York City was right around the corner, and I had just gotten back from DC where the plan was supposed to be simple. Rest. I'd use the word taper because it's a marathoner word, but an actual taper wasn't possible with the schedule. What I really mean is recover. And instead of that, I couldn't stand on my left side because starting Monday morning, that ankle wasn't sore. Like anything being sore after a marathon is normal. My ankle was weak. It ached when it moved, and when I let it rest, it felt like it was vibrating. And I guess as most people haven't experienced their foot in italics, but if you're one of them, let me tell you, it's not a great feeling. It took active effort not to walk like I'd survived some sort of kumite. And that's a major problem if you're the fool who signed on for a follow-on world major marathon. Like, those numbers follow you. So, before I started catastrophizing and not starting NYC due to injury through the deferral process, which I'm pretty sure is a decision any medical professional would advise is correct to protect their license, I gave myself a simple test instead. Sort of North Star. It is very scientific. It was. Could I stand on the weak foot for 10 seconds? Because on Monday, no, not even close. And while all of this was happening, life was still life. Like, I was still working full time, and I hadn't taken a day off. My cat needed medical attention that week. I had a partner with me staying in my home at the time who made it pretty clear that she thought I was setting myself up for an injury. And to be fair, I get where she came from. So I gave it a day. I let Tuesday roll in, and the left side still clearly needed a break. And that day, close family members saw New York Marathon signs around town and connected dots, and he then called me, not to ask, but to tell me I wasn't running New York. Why don't I defer? Like, at that point, I wasn't sure how bad my left side was, and I was thinking someone who's disconnected from it probably knows less. I should explain, because most people might not know, for the New York City Marathon, runners can defer until roughly 24 hours before it starts, which meant I could keep my entry for next year, and if it was time to do that, because I was getting my first real injury, it was definitely time to do that. Now, what I realized from weighing that decision, after DC I'd completed 4 marathons in 2025, and if I needed to defer, I could always be proud of that pin in my lapel. Like, I feel that's pretty cool. And yeah, I was tired, turning 40 right after this challenge, and if later I started to feel like I could have pulled it off, but I walked away too early, weighing all that, I realized there was a really good chance I could spend the rest of my life looking at those 4 as almost 5. Once you've hit that button, you've hit that button. You've set your stride. So, what does that matter, right? I get that that's a good question. And while common sense might also say defer, common sense at that point, I was getting hit with that with a bunch of people. I realized that would be a form of cope, because common sense says don't sign up for 65 race miles within a month in the first place. And the thing about common sense and the people who have nothing but common sense is that they never figure out how the cheese is made. And I mean it. Like, cheese is a weird thing to figure out. And pretty much all of modern society is glad that somebody did. And I am not saying that figuring out how to go from couch to back-to-back marathon is half as cool as mozzarella. But I know that that's what I wanted to do. And I'd raised my hand for the New York City bib because after thousands of uninjured miles over the last 3 years, I'd gotten my own sense about what I am capable of. And I want to say, with that, also further this sense of confidence versus arrogance. This is not just about running, but it's also definitely about running. And my last point is this. Confidence says, I think I can do this. Here are even reasons why. Arrogance is a little different. It says, I don't need to respect the risk. And I know that my legs, they didn't feel like my legs because I was sore and unsure and tired. But I still believed, and that gave me an issue because, that kid I used to be did not ever want to grow into a guy who'd run 5 marathons. But he wanted to grow into someone who, if they wanted to and believed they could do something hard, that they wouldn't settle on just talking about it. So I babied that ankle. I took recovery more seriously than I ever had before. For the first time, I was considering the anti-inflammatory properties of my meals. I embraced the grandpa bedtime. Someone had gifted me a Theragun. I used it. They are amazing, and they help your legs feel like legs again. So after about 3 days of that, Wednesday, something had changed. I could stand on the foot, not perfectly, but enough to think it's coming back. So by Thursday, I could walk normally again. No limp, no vibrating, just walking. And yes, I was still sore. Yes, I knew there was still risk, but each day was a step in the right direction that hurt less and felt better, which, by the way, I pretty much summarized this marathon training. So by Friday, I was bib hunting.
What's going on? Melissa, what are we doing?
We're picking up a stupid bet.
Why is it stupid?
Because it's stupid.
That's it.
My partner at the time put up with what can be a very chaotic expo. It's open to all kinds of legs. A few people at work heard that I was running New York and wished me luck. I remember a couple had asked if it was my first marathon, and I felt like I just smiled and I said nope. Just seemed easier that way, and now the challenge had changed. It wasn't, can I give myself permission to defer? If I need to, can I recover? It was, did I make the right call? Did I trust myself correctly? And did I bet that I could still enjoy what might be the greatest marathon on Earth? Because there's only one way to find out. And New York was still waiting.